Welcome to the Raven Report, the official podcast of Sci-Tech High School. I'm your guest host, Deanna Sims, and today we're exploring a new addition to Sci-Tech High School that's bringing books directly to students, the STHS Street Library. Started by Mr. Sanchez, the principal in residence at STHS, with support of Mr. Cole and Ms. Baptiste. This honor system library has already started making waves on campus. But how did it begin? What impact is it having, and what can be done to make reading more accessible to students? While many students have embraced the library, some are still having a hard time getting interested in reading. What can be done to change that? In today's program, we will look at these questions and more. Today, our student correspondent Araceli will be talking to Mr. Sanchez himself to get the full story behind the library's creation. And then I'll be talking with two student panels to see what they think about the initiative. Let's dive in. Joining us now is Araceli, our student correspondent, who will be speaking with Mr. Sanchez, the principal in residence at STHS, and the person who spearheaded the STHS Street Library. Araceli, take it away.
Thanks, Deanna. I'm excited to be here and to talk about such an important initiative on our campus. Mr. Sanchez, thank you for joining me here today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Can you walk us through the origins of the STHS Street Library and what inspired you to start this initiative?
Well, many of y'all probably don't know, but I was a former English teacher. So one of the first things I noticed when I came to this campus is that we did not have a library, even though some of the other schools in the network do.
Yeah.
So I believe it's critical that we have books available for our students. So this way they can continue to learn to love to read. And so that's just a big passion piece.
Was there any support given to you? Did anyone help with the library?
Oh, absolutely. So when I first brought up the idea of wanting to create some sort of library for the school, it quickly got pointed out to me that there were a couple of teachers already wanting to do it as well. Miss Pappas was the one I was directed to. Mr. Cole, I was told in Stecker that they had already all had books to the side, had some shelves, and were wanting to do a similar project. So I was able to reach out to them and figure out what they had, what resources they had, so that we can try to work on it together.
That's really good. Yeah, because there's a few storage rooms here that just have books. When they put us there for testing, it's just books that aren't being used. And since the library operates on an honor system right now, how's that going?
It's going really well. I know some people have asked me separately how it works. And so I always tell them it's a pretty simple thing, like find a book, read the book, return the book, and then recommend the book, repeat. So I'm not worried about books going missing. The reality is the book is there for students to be able to read. And so when a scholar finishes, what we want them to do is return it to the same area, but ultimately recommend that book to a friend, right? When we find out something's good, we tend to recommend it to someone else so they could also enjoy it. I'm not worried about books going missing. I think if it did on accident and a scholar finds it in their room later or in their backpack later, they'll go naturally, honestly, just return it as well. So.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. And, since it's Black History Month, are you guys highlighting authors of color?
Actually, yes. So when we set it up last month, I tried to just put a variety of different type of books that people would enjoy. There was some manga, there was The Fault in Our Stars written in Spanish. I want more, actually trying to get more Spanish language books and just trying to get a very nice differentiation of books for people to see. However, if you go by now, you'll see that the majority of them are books written by famous African-American authors. Toni Morrison, there's a book up there on Jackie Robinson. I think there might be one about MLK. I got to remember what I put up there. But right now, the focus was trying to hit and highlight very influential African-Americans in the literary genre.
That's great. Yeah, we need more representation. Some students have expressed that they appreciate the street library, but they feel that they should have a full-on library like the elementary school next to us. And what are your thoughts on that?
I 100% agree with them. Again, former English teacher, my degrees are in reading and everything else. I believe a library is fundamental. Now, I will say, even in public schools, everywhere else, libraries are finding their way out and they're becoming more media centers. And so libraries nowadays are becoming more of a technology hub than it used to be years ago as a straight library. Being said, I do believe we have to have a location that has a large assortment of books, where students can go in, they can read, they can sit down and read, they can check out multiple books, request new books that they want the school to be able to purchase or bring in. And so I 100% would love a traditional library. But since we don't have the resources or anything of that right now, this was the first step in getting scholars access to hopefully books they would enjoy.
It's a good start. I heard that apparently we were supposed to have a library, but they gave it to the little ones. Looking ahead, what are your future plans for the library?
Well, I would like to see more books being donated and put in. So one of the things, it took us a little while to get it going because the purpose is it has to be intent. I had to make sure we had matching bookshelves. I didn't want it to look ugly, just look like it was random thrown together. It needs to be a place that scholars can look at and appreciate and know that it was intentional.
Oh, like it was made with love and stuff.
Absolutely. So if you'll notice, like even all the bookshelves are identical. Even all the stands are identical. They match the I-beams in the office. Everything looks purposeful because it's really important to me that it doesn't look just thrown in there, but that there was an intent. And so when we progress in it, everything will be intentional. So I do need more books in there. I would like to see, we can get more donations. Again, I'm really, really big on trying to get more novels in the Spanish language or if we have other languages represented on campus, something of that nature. Definitely would like to see it grow. We even talked about in the future, maybe even putting some nice, comfortable seats out there and actually creating reading sections.
Oh, that would be amazing.
And so that would probably be the next progression. Hopefully we can get there.
I think you should talk with student council and maybe they could send them like a book donation drive thing.
That would be wonderful. That's a great idea.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Mr. Sanchez, for giving us that insight into how the library came to be and where it's headed. I really appreciate your time, Mr. Sanchez, and all the work that you and the staff have put into this initiative. Now, I'll hand things back to Deanna.
Thank you, Araceli. Now let's hear from some students about their thoughts on the library and its impact so far. I'm now joined by 4 Sci-Tech High School students who have had a chance to check out the Street Library. Allie, Jayla, Melanie, and Angel. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Oh.
Okay. You guys ready for a question?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what was your first impression when you heard about the STHS Street Library?
My first impression when I saw it was, honestly, what is this? But then once I started looking at the book, I was like, okay, this is something I wasn't expecting to see in a hallway.
I had high expectations when you first heard about it, and my expectations were failed. But I give huge credits to Sanchez because I've seen how dedicated he is to his amazing library.
May I ask why were your impressions failed?
Because I imagine having a whole actual room as a library, not in the hallway where students can steal books.
Honestly, I don't know what I was expecting. I was a little confused on where they really even put a library until I just saw it was in the hallway, so it caught me a little off guard. It's a little plain. I feel like I expected it to have a little few more things so it could catch students' eyes and like maybe they'll actually be interested in reading and looking at the books. But clearly that did not happen.
I feel like it was a start and everything starts somewhere. So the library, it's doing good for how it started. It could have been worse. It's doing good.
With the books that you've seen with the library, have you personally used the library?
Well, not really, because when I tried looking at it, I was hoping I could find like an I Spy book or something. And I failed too. So I couldn't find that, or not even like, I don't know, Diary of the Wimpy Kid at least. Some little comic book at least, but because it's more like of my something I'll probably try to read. But no, I gave up on looking.
So your experience hasn't been great with the library?
No, it hasn't.
I personally agree with Mel. I was also looking for like some comic books, something more interesting instead of more historical. And when the library first did pop up in the hallway, I did want to interact with it and I did go take a peek at it, but I wasn't very satisfied.
So because you said the books that you've seen in the library are more historical, you think that students aren't as engaging with it?
Yes.
I also like to agree with Allie because Mostly, we're like into action books and like Diary of the Wimpy Kid, for example. Most people like read that, but instead we were like giving books. For example, Romeo and Juliet. Like I haven't read it. Apparently, it's a good book, but like, I feel like more action is needed in that library.
So you think more action books would get
Yeah.
students more engaged
Yeah.
at the library?
Even a how to survive book.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't used the library, but it looks nice because the books that they have like showing off particular books, they catch my attention and I want to read them.
And then because the library is in the hallway, it is an honor system. Do you think the honor system is going to work well? Or do you think it is working well now? Meaning like you take a book and then you bring it back when you're done. There's no
No.
like, checking it out.
I personally think that has failed because even though we may believe we're high schoolers and we're grown and we should know how to respect things, I believe our high schoolers are still immature and would like to take books just to take them and not use them for the right cause.
Also, like, unfortunately, some of those books could probably get damaged or be thrown or something could happen to them, and they're like, books are not that cheap, I'm assuming, and that's why it would be a little problem if people would just grab them without checking them out or something, to like having to return, like a return policy.
Yeah, another thing is that most teachers like buy the books or even donate. And for us high schoolers, there are some that we can trust, but there are other like scholars who will most likely take the book, damage it, or just not return it.
You all agree that the honor system you think will be trouble?
Yeah.
Some students feel that the street library is a good start and that Sci-Tech High School deserves a full library like other schools in the area. Do you agree?
I agree because even if most people don't want to read books, there's still people that are into books and stuff.
Mhm.
So they should have a chance to be able to read what they want to read.
Especially if we were to have an actual library, students would be able to not only go to read books, but they can use like the quiet space of the library to like finish work or just to like, how do I say it? Be able to have some peace and quiet.
Yeah.
I also agree with Jayla, and I also believe that our school should be able to fund a library where all scholars should be able to have more options, more choices.
Mhm.
And I believe that it's an easier way and a safer way to protect books from being used not in the right way.
I strongly agree with everyone's opinions, also because to have a full library, it could find people like an actual quiet studying place instead of them trying to get home and find a place or go to a classroom. And most of the time, classes and just anywhere else could be very distracting for some students.
Okay.
And I know some students actually do appreciate their reading time and they don't really get that quiet and like peace at the and like at school that they would want. So it would be really like, what's the word? Oh, it would be really like hopeful. No, that's not the word. I forgot the word. Yeah, it would be really useful to them.
Because students could use it for somewhere, like not just checking out books.
But for like peace and quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that. From what you've seen, how are other students reacting to the library?
For what I've seen, most students don't even enter.
So they just pass by it?
I would like to add to what Ali said, because I've mostly seen students where they would just look at it but not interact with it. They would just like pass it like if it was nothing.
So most students are indifferent.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like because it's in the hallway and like everyone passes by in passing period, it's just crowded, and the least thing that anyone would want to do is stay there in a crowded place and will just want to get straight to class or just go somewhere else instead of being crowded. And that's why I feel like maybe it wasn't the best place to put the little library at, because that's probably why people just pass by and don't really actually get a chance to look at it, since it's usually crowded or something.
Yeah, I agree with everyone. It's not really acknowledged, and at the same time, there's not really a way where students can really use the library, because unless passing period or lunch, there's not really a time for a student to be able to use it.
Well, thank you all for being here. Thank you for your time and answering my questions.
You're welcome.
Thanks
I
for
hope I
having
better
us.
see the
Thanks
I
for
Spy
having
book.
us.
It's great to hear how the library is being received by students, but let's take this conversation further. Why do some students struggle to engage with reading in the first place? And what can be done to make the library even more effective? Our next student panel will tackle these questions. Joining me now are Benito, Christian, aka Angel number 2, and Audrey, 3 students who have been thinking a lot about reading culture at STHS and beyond. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Deanna.
Hello. Hello, Deanna.
Hi,
Oh,
Deanna.
hi, Deanna.
Okay. There's been a lot of discussion about younger generations are reading less than ever before. What do you think about this?
Well, first off, it's not the younger generation's fault. It's the parents. Because who's raising those kids? Not me. Right. I better not. But a lot of it has to do with how parents kind of neglect their kids and don't really interact with them or allow them to experience the world in full or allow them to be bored or allow them to imagine. So when these materials in their brain aren't used, then of course you're going to go to like a phone and not read. Like,
Yeah.
come on. If I was like a 5-year-old and my quote unquote millennial, like beige mother shows me colors for the first time, like a Victorian child getting Sour Patch Kids, I'm going to the iPad. I'm not going to read.
So you believe that iPad culture has ruined a reading culture?
I'd say internet culture in general, because if you can have it like that, then why would you bother wasting your time? You got to learn to be uncomfortable. You got to learn to be bored. You got to learn to entertain yourself. So, parents' fault.
Okay. And what about you two?
Can you repeat the question?
Lord have mercy.
There's been a lot of discussion about how younger generations are reading less than ever before. What do you think about that? Or why do you think that is?
I don't know, actually. But I don't have the problem not reading. I did read a lot. I did. I don't read a lot much. Why? Because my grandma did buy me a lot of books, so I kind of felt like obligated to read them. So I did end up reading a lot of books when I was younger. But I stopped reading it now because I do other things.
On the internet?
Yeah, on the internet.
True. No. Hold I guess.
Yeah. What about you, Christian?
As Benita said, it wasn't really the fact that a grandma gave me books and I was obligated to read them. It was more like in school. And in school, I didn't really like filling out my reading log, even though I could have lied about it. I didn't.
I could have lied about it.
So I just didn't do it. And as punishment, I had to run laps around the school. So I ended up only liking books whenever I felt like reading them, not really when I was forced to or told to read them. Occasionally, yeah, I'll read a book here and there, but that's only because I feel like it. If someone tells me to read a book, then hell no.
So do y'all agree that you read less because of the internet, like Audrey said?
Possibly.
Yeah, I probably read less because I want to read more. It's just I don't have any books. And I don't feel like going out and getting my own books.
Being on the internet is like way easier than going to a library.
Because
Going out,
nowadays,
get to know
they got a
book.
bunch of PDFs and whatnot of books. So why go out and buy a book of your own when you could just read the PDF online?
Well, that in general is like going to a library and finding a book. Like the act of reading, like they're still reading. What I'm saying is that why would I take the brain power to imagine and to read something when I can just Google,
Watch YouTube videos.
why would I watch YouTube video while I eat?
You're like Mr. Beast or something.
Right, like why would I read a book? Why would I read the dictionary if I have Mr. Beast in the pyramids of Giza? Like that, like I don't.
I have a dictionary next to my table. I read
have
it
a
every
dictionary
once in a while.
Me too. I used to look up all the bad words in the dictionary.
Nice. What do you guys think are some of the barriers to reading that students face today?
It's a kind of a mix of a personal barrier, like to want to read and to want to learn how to read. You just got to be in the culture. And the thing is that that culture comes with people who usually don't struggle. And I say this because if you're in a household where your family's priorities is working or your family's priorities is getting food on the table or
Then
your
you
family's
don't have the
priorities-
time
you
to
don't
read.
have the time or the accessibility or anything like that. So, and especially at like this school where a lot of kids are just disproportionately affected than other richer schools that are used to reading and have all these like access to them. Like we had to beg. I didn't even know you could beg for a library at the school. And just that accessibility in general is like a big boulder in the way of kids getting to read. It's not easy for everybody.
So do you think that the library could help kids want to read more?
I think it's a cute start to getting the kids to read more.
Yeah. Would you mainly think that time and culture around reading is the biggest barrier that we have?
That, and by culture, also extending that to people wanting to know how to read, as in like, not like knowing how to read like the A, like blah blah blah, like not that. I mean like learning to and taking the time to interpret a book or something like that. That's part of wanting to read.
Benito, what do you think the biggest barriers to reading are?
Like personally, or like in like general? Oh, for all the students? I don't know. Because I can't really speak for other people, but I know that for me, I have a problem with finding what kind of book I want to read. Because usually when I had my grandma hand me a book, she just gave it to me and I was like, oh, okay, I'll read it. But like usually when I like go to a library and look at the books, I find it hard to choose what I want.
Overwhelming kind of to choose a book.
Libraries can be very overwhelming.
Yeah. What about you, Christian?
I feel the same way. It can be very overwhelming. And also with the introduction of the library that we have in the hallway in the main building, it's not very good to have it there in the hallway because usually in the passing periods, we only have 5 minutes, maybe 3 minutes, I don't know, whatever. And that only gives you time to really pick a book out at the end or the beginning of the day. And I feel that we should just maybe put the library somewhere else or make it more accessible. Let's say a gym where a lot more people are gathered rather than a hallway.
Yeah.
Or just make some time for a bit of free time during school.
Yeah.
So maybe like 20 minutes or 10 minutes.
Also, during passing periods, you could go to the library, but there's so many kids walking behind you and stuff that it can get overwhelming to look for a book that you want to read.
And let's say you do find a book, someone passes you by, you lose track of that book.
Yeah.
Because it's passing period. It's not no free time. It's not time to look around and browse. And even then, because it's 5 minutes, it also gives you only a short amount of time to pick a book. So that fact also overwhelms you. At least that's my take on it.
Yeah, for an accessible library, it's a little inaccessible.
It's a little restricted, yeah.
Not too accessible.
So that's what's not working with the library. What do you think is working with the library?
Its existence there in general is really nice. I was going to say to fix the accessibility problem would be there's a room, I forget, with one of these portables that has a bunch of books that I feel like if that renovated and was added like a flex time, like a study hall or a library time, then that'd be...
It's a teacher's lounge.
Right. There's also the other second storage room. There's two. There's one with the books that aren't organized and there's one with the books organized. If they moved those organized books to the disorganized books and organized those books and then brought in those books into there, then they can make a nice little library, is intimate a good word to use? An intimate place to get a book, all right? Look, choosing a book is quiet, quaint. Maybe it's loud or noisy. It's personal. You find a book that speaks to you, that draws to you. Maybe the book finds you first, right? So having it in the middle of a hallway is a little bit difficult, time-wise, and just, again, accessibility-wise. It is good that it's out there because then kids can see it. And I've seen them, stop and look at it and, just try to pick out a book, but it's difficult for them to really get a hold on with it so cluttered.
So many students, including you, appreciate the street library, but feel a full library would offer more resources and encourage more reading. Do you think STHS should work toward a full library?
You had an answer for that already?
What do you mean?
Many students, you appreciate the street library. She's got an answer for everything. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm sorry. That genuinely took me out. I could have answered anything in my entire life and you still somehow managed to say many students appreciate this.
Yeah, you just managed to. Right. Okay, wait. You already kind of answered that question.
I did.
Okay, so do you think Sci-Tech High School should work toward a full library?
What do you define as full library?
Like a bigger library, one in its own specific room, like Audrey was talking about.
Yeah, like Audrey said, I think it'd be good if they had a specific, like, flex time, as she put it, to choose a book and then spend the rest of that time reading said chosen book. It would give you a lot of quiet time, and it also gives you a lot of focus as to see what books you like and what books you would rather stay away from.
And you can actually like have a nice like quiet time with it, and you could have like an actual system where people can keep track of the books and all that.
Besides that, what do you think could make this library even better? More books, better outreach, different genres?
Like I said, it's a cute start, as in like, you know, it's got shelves, it's got books, it's got shelves with that kind of on it.
Yeah.
But I really do think it's the atmosphere, because people, generally speaking, right, putting the books out in the hallway is like good press, all pun intended, and it gets people to notice that, hey, we do have books. We have a collection of books that you guys can read. And Sosa, I heard, is a comic book collector, so I would say comic books are not out of reach for the school to obtain. Was it Kim? I think it's him too, yeah. Anyways, like having that as a good like press in general, but then if we move it at some point, move it back, like maybe after spring break, which is a long while from now, but let's say we have someone has a day off, the NHS kids could come in and move all the library books and catalog them back in that building that they're not using, that they put us in for star testing occasionally, and actually implement a system. Let's be real here. Even if that library is going to be in there, the kids who don't read books aren't going to be in there anyways. This will help avoid books being stolen, have books actually be read, have a quiet place for the kids who do want to read it can go to, and it improves the system. There's really no negatives to giving this library an actual place to reside.
I think also with the library's location now, the hallway isn't that big, so
It's
we
really
can't,
not.
extend the library to
can't.
have more books, to have more genres.
We really can't
and accommodate
expand.
for more people's interests.
Mhm.
I think getting a full library could accommodate for people's interests and for us to expand the library.
Plus, we're a college prep. Like, a lot of times in libraries, you have textbooks and stuff. So maybe all the teachers can compile in their textbooks and say, hey, go to the school library, go to this section and find the textbook you want. It would help have the teachers, like, a nice place for students who actually want to put in the work and put in the effort of reading, because that's really not for everybody. That's just how you are if you want, right? Or if you don't want. Everybody's different, right?
Yeah.
Point is, it'll give a space for those kids who want to do that. And that's accessibility at its finest.
So, Christian and Benito, what do you think the library could do to make it even better?
I feel like a checkout system would heavily benefit it.
Yeah.
Because as of now, you've previously stated before, it relies on a honor kind of system.
Mhm.
And a lot of kids here, I feel like they will not uphold that said honor.
Definitely not.
I think that's probably your first priority for anyone who's trying to improve the library in the hallway, is to add a honor system. Oh my goodness. A checkout system.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah, and even if we did do an honor system in the personal confined library, even that would work better, but we'd have so many books that we would need a checkout system. But real talk, these kids are, okay, leave this in or don't leave this in. I'm going to get messy, right? Look, sometimes you do something nice for the kids and they really want to mess it up. I don't know who it was, but I know who you are, right? I have your face in my brain when I say the story. 2 years ago, me and the cheerleader spent like a weekend decorating the hallways. And literally the second that happened, when they came back, I saw this dude immediately take it down. You think books are going to be safe in the hallway? Books?
Yeah.
Your personal donations? I love the idea of the personal donations. That's amazing. But in the middle of the hallway, unfortunately, for this library to be successful, you need it to be special. A library is a special place for some people. You need that to be highlighted and emphasized. And putting in the hallway is not really that. It's really easy for somebody to ruin.
Let's do a lightning round. How do you think the school can involve parents and teachers in promoting the library?
NHS should totally hold a book drive. I'm going to drag the rest of us into this. Oh gosh, this
Oh,
podcast.
that sounds like a cool
We
idea.
should have a book drive, have parents, have teachers, everybody, and then we can actually make this library happen. I think it'd be super cool to dedicate like a day off or a weekend or to really implement this library because I love
Get those
libraries.
volunteer hours in.
Yeah, get those
Or
get those
habit.
out of school volunteer hours in.
So you think it'd be like a FAFSA kind of thing?
Wait,
Fast.
Like FAFSA night kind of thing? Like,
Oh, like when you bring your parents. And
yeah, when you bring your parents.
In that sense, sure. I'm not gonna dictate that.
Because you
I don't
can
care.
also like send emails out, be like, hey,
Mhm.
come on over.
To
we're
get
gonna-"
more parents involved.
Mhm.
Yeah, to get
Okay.
parents involved and
Emails,
teachers.
Flyers.
I don't know, maybe. No, that's actually not it, but whatever.
Yeah, I'd love to bring that up to the
Teachers,
team.
whoever want to volunteer and bring their own books that they don't want anymore, they can bring into the library
Yeah.
or the drive. And like you said, Audrey, NHS would heavily benefit from the volunteer hours.
I didn't. Deanna said that. I said.
sorry.
Said it'd be nice for NHS to do. She said get those volunteer hours in. She's the mastermind. I'm just.
It's just the
Well, you
perk.
hinted at it. You hinted at it. So
Oh, I don't think I did.
The volunteer hours are a perk.
Yeah, that's just
the
yeah.
volunteer hours, I can honestly assume that a lot of people in there haven't
be
really
interested.
done
Oh, okay.
volunteer yet
Yeah.
or are trying to get into volunteer because their hours are a little on the low side,
Mhm.
including me.
Yeah.
So yeah, having some volunteer hours for doing something as simple as bringing some books over with your parents and some teachers, that'd be really beneficial.
Do you have any thoughts
Benito?
about how you can get more students or more parents and teachers involved?
Not really, but I was thinking that these kids even really got books. I know a lot of these kids don't really read, so like, how much would that bring in? For these
A little
people that-
pessimistic, but okay.
A bit realistic though.
It is
because
realistic.
yeah.
vote.
Like not a lot of kids having yes at home, and I think
Yes,
that's why
so-
the library is so important though.
Mhm.
Is because kids don't have a lot
So
of
it's
books at home.
It would give space for the kids who
I
do have books
read
to share the
them.
books they don't read, and then to expand the library.
I've seen it now.
Okay. Well, Benito, Angel, and Audrey, thank you for your thoughtful insights. It is clear that while having the library is a great start, there's still more work to be done in making reading accessible and exciting for all students. So the STHS Street Library is off to a promising start, with students and staff alike excited about its potential. While some students are engaging with it right away, others are finding reading to be a challenge. And there's more room to grow in making books more appealing and accessible. Now, we want to hear from you. Have you used the STHS Street Library? What books would you like to see? Drop a comment on Spotify and share your thoughts. We'd love to feature more students' voices in a future episode. Join us next time on the Raven Report. We'll be joined by Kelly Rodriguez, an STHS alum, who will share her experiences both at STHS and beyond. Stay tuned for that and more. This is Deanna Sims signing off from the Raven Report. Thanks for listening, and as always, stay curious. STHS.